Hey everyone, hope you're well. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. So if you don't like it, let me know. If you like it, let me know. Just give me feedback because I mean, it's the school holidays, so I don't have anything to talk about in terms of school or Ollie or any. There's not been any updates on any of the usual stuff that I cover. And I just thought, you know what? I've had an idea. I was driving back from Comic Con, and obviously I'd spent the day talking about neurodiversity and myself being neurodiverse and Ollie and so on and so forth. And I thought, you know what? There's loads of things I don't really get, or I'm not really able to process about the world. It doesn't make sense to me. And on the drive back, I had a list of something like 7 things. And I was all excited, thinking, "Oh, if I could just think of 3 more, then I can do a big 10 things I don't get about the world, and just kick that off." But because I was driving, I couldn't write anything down. So by the time I got home, I only remembered 3 of them. And talking to my friend, she said to me, like, do you know what? Three's probably enough for a normal length video. 10 would have been a ridiculous video. Just do your 3. So here we are. And basically, I just want to cover off. I think they're not always going to be things that, oh, it's because I'm autistic or because of whatever. Some of it might just be that I'm a moron. So this could be a very me thing. And again, not everyone's the same. So not everyone's going to struggle with these things. But the reason I started thinking about it, and number one on my list of 3, is the fact that I can drive, right? I passed my test 3 years ago, I want to say. Maybe 4. Maybe, I don't know. I've been driving a while. And roads do not make sense to me because you're taught that it's a very strict set of rules. You've got the highway code. You've got the very specific right-of-way rules. You've got the very specific which lanes to use, which speed to go, how to drive, when to do things, what not to do, blah, blah, blah. And everyone on the road ignores it. Everyone just does whatever the hell they want. And it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Now, what put me onto that? What started this off was I was driving along a motorway, and the rule of the motorway is that you stay in the left lane all the time, and you only go into the other lanes to overtake. So if you're doing your 70 speed limit and you're going down the road and a car in front of you for some godforsaken reason is doing 40 mile an hour in a 70, which happens so often to me, I indicate, I go right. I drive round them, I indicate, I go left, I'm back in the lane. Now, that sounds, yeah, sensible. Let's do that. But what you have is all of the lorries and morons doing 40s and the lorries doing whatever the limit they can do. And then the middle lane of people who are like, I'm just going to hit 70 and go as fast as I want in the middle. And you got people on the outside going, I don't care about laws. I'm going to do 90, 100, 120. I'm just going to see how fast my sports car can go. And I'm just going to smash it. And then there's like me in the middle going, well, like, I'd quite like to drive super fast and break the law, but I'm absolutely petrified of breaking the law and getting in trouble or killing myself or killing the people in the car or, doing something wrong. So I try and stay away from that. I've tried going into that lane to do the speed limit because it's so congested everywhere else. And I've had people behind me going nuts, raging at me. So I don't understand. And then I've tried sticking to the middle lane because weaving in and out of traffic because people are going really slow just feels stupidly dangerous, because you don't also just get people doing the exceeding the limit on the outside lane, they also do it in the middle lane. So if you're weaving in and out, you're constantly watching people whiz past you at 70 while you're doing 40, because the person in front of you is slow, trying to wait for a gap so you can move out and get up to speed quick enough that you don't get rammed in the backside. So it feels really dangerous weaving in and out. And I'm not against just doing, like, if it was a 70 and I could just do 65 in the first lane because that's where someone's decided to sit at. That's not the end of the world. But, oh my word, I don't understand people who do 40 and people who want to do 90. And I just feel like it doesn't make any sense. And everyone turns a blind eye to it, but it's a law. So in theory, I could do 90 and get pulled over by a police officer and get arrested. But I see police officers doing it or driving with people and they completely ignore it. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. And on top of that, driving in London, there's cameras everywhere and it's a 40 or a 50 and people are whizzing along because they're used to the roads. And going to London, I wasn't used to it. So I'm in a bit that says 50 and there's cameras. So I'm doing 50. I've got a van right up behind me and he's getting really frustrated because I'm not getting out of his way. And the moment I change lanes, he's off doing like 70. And I'm thinking, this is a camered area. I don't understand. So I guess they just don't care. But I don't understand how we've got in a position where that's like the way that everybody drives. It's just insane. It's the same thing when you get on a roundabout and there's three people on there and you just literally have to see who's the bravest and just wing it. Like everyone's got right away, so you just go for it. And that happens to me on my road all the time. And I don't understand how I'm supposed to do it. I tend to just jump in if I can, but I always feel like a monster for doing it. And the last thing on that, before I start with my next part of what I would do about it, is we also have these really weird recommended speed limits that don't count, and I never knew they didn't count. So I've been driving past. There's a bit up the road from me that says it's a 20. It's like a little green sign. I accidentally got a speeding ticket earlier in the year, as you know from previous vlogs, because I was driving in a 40. I turned off the 40. I turned back onto it thinking it was still a 40, but it was a 30. And just in that gap, I hadn't realised I'd passed a sign like literally on the corner where I turned. But anyway, they told us if it's not in a red circled sign, it's not an official speed limit. So why is it there? Who's it for? Just a made up speed limit? Are we supposed to? Some of us are supposed to go, okay, I'll listen to it because I fancy listening to it. I don't understand. Either make it a speed limit or don't. It's a weird rule. So I don't understand why this has been allowed to happen. Why are we in a world where that's the rule and everyone agrees this insane rule? And why isn't it just simpler? Why don't they just say... So my friend jokingly said to me when I was chatting to her about this, why don't they make the left lane 60, the middle lane 70, and the right lane 80? I feel like that's probably too dangerous unless you set like a lower limit on the outer lane or whatever it is. I kind of agree that you should be allowed to go faster in the outer lane, or they should raise the speed limit. But I feel like if you raise it to 100, people will just do 120. There's just people who like breaking the rules. But it does feel weird that I get to certain bits as well. Certain bits, they just go, oh, this bit's a 50. And you're like, why? There's nothing different about this bit of road than that bit of road. Why is it suddenly a 50? And I'm sure there probably is a reason, but it doesn't make sense to me. Sometimes there might be houses nearby. I get that, but going along the motorways I was driving, there was no rhyme or reason to it. So I was just very frustrated. Average speed limits also kill me because I don't get that. Why do they care? Like, if they want to guarantee that I'm doing the speed limit I should be doing for a prolonged period of time, why don't they just do that everywhere? Why not just have cameras everywhere that have an average speed limit? Get rid of all the other cameras. I mean, I hate it. I'd rather they didn't do that, because trying to keep your foot at exactly the right number for the whole journey so that your average is right, it messes with my head. Like, I see people just whizzing off and I'm thinking, well, your average is going to be 65 in a 60. You're a madman. Whereas I'm there going, oh, well, I dropped down to 55 for a minute there, so I could probably just break the law for 5 minutes. I'm not going to, but in theory, I could just drive at 65 for a bit because I did 55 for a bit. And I don't see what benefit they've got from knowing that my average across a stretch of ground was about right. Like, just have a speed camera there. It just doesn't make sense. I feel like it's just people building on systems and just getting it wrong, and it's terrible. And if they're absolutely critically bothered about speed, just watch it with a satellite. Track the cars. We've got the technology. Just get it sorted. If they're absolutely critically bothered about speed, stop cars going above 75, surely. Just put something on them that says cars now are made that the engine can't go above 75 mile an hour. How hard would that be? Not that hard. Just stick them on. Job done. Can't go above 75. I don't get it. Why make a car that can go that fast on a road when you don't want them to? It just seems really, really backwards and messed up and weird. And cars are just a weird thing in general. And I don't know. Do many neurodiverse people drive? I feel like none of the ones I know other than Kev do. Is that because you're like me and you were petrified about it and didn't want to be behind the wheel of a giant metal machine? Because I definitely put it off for like 30 something years. I think I learned to drive when I was 32, 33. But roads are just a mess. A bit more of an easy one, a bit more of a common one that I touched on in the Comic-Con panel is clothing. I mentioned in my last vlog how I have many tops that are exactly like this, and they are all just different colors, and that's been a godsend for me. But I don't understand why we have to wear shirts, ties and trousers and stuff like that to work or to be formal. I don't understand how that's a thing. I don't understand why ties exist. They are completely and utterly pointless. They just strangle you. I mean, why do people want to go to a party strangling themselves? It's weird. I get shirts look nice if they're fancy shirts. You know, Kev Lolujo wears all sorts of Larry shirts, and yeah, they suit him. He looks badass in them. He looks good. I couldn't wear one of them to work. I don't know where the line is, so I always just wear just boring plain blue, white. I remember wearing a purple shirt to work, and then a woman telling someone else how she didn't like someone they interviewed because they come in wearing a purple shirt. And I thought that was just a dig at me. And that was an unnecessary, I assume it was a dig at me. I heard her say it and I just thought, I'm wearing a purple shirt. She must think that's bad. Why is that bad? I don't understand. I got a set that was like red, blue, purple, black, grey, white. It was one of my, basically what I did with this t-shirt. One of them felt bearably okay. So I bought 10 of them, all different colours. And I don't understand what the problems were. There's apparently these hidden rules about it or whatever. It's probably just preference. She was being an idiot. It's one of those things I really wanted to say. This is a bit of a tangent, but I really wanted to say perhaps comments like that are the reason that you constantly complain you have been single for the past 30 years and you can't find a person to settle down with. Maybe you should stop being so rude to people. And I didn't say that. I just sat there and thought, I quite like this purple shirt. I should have gone on the offensive though. But yeah, people, I mean, I'll get onto this in a minute with another comment, but clothes don't make sense. Because then there's also, why make them out of really clingy materials? Do people like having clothes that cling to them? Because I bloody don't. Do people like having itchy clothes that are really uncomfortable and stab you in the neck all of the time? Or is it just that normal people don't feel that? Like, these have quite a soft label and I don't even know it's there, but I've got tops where the label is just like a knife poking me in the back of the neck. And I'm like, why would anybody want this? But apparently people like being stabbed in the neck. I don't know. Why do you want stuff that is too delicate to just wash? So you can't put it in a normal wash to kill all the germs on it. So you're just basically wearing something that's riddled with germs. And the only way you can clean it is if you put it on a wash that's insufficient to clean it. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, oh, put this on a 20 because it will get ruined if I put it on anything higher than that. And you're like, yeah, but you've been sat in a germy place and those germs will love just being given a 20-degree bath. That'll probably make them spread more. So that doesn't make any sense to me. And why make clothes that shrink if they go above a certain temperature? Why not just stop using those materials for clothes and use the materials we've got, because they don't shrink when you wash them and they don't stab people and they're comfy. Also, why does it matter? Why can't I just wear a onesie everywhere? I've never worn a onesie. They're probably horrific. They seem uncomfortable to me. I've not tried to wear one. But why can't we just do that? Why can't we just I don't know, all in one suits? We just do them up, job done. That's the suit I wear for everything. That's what I look like. I also don't really get why we have to dress up for formal people in certain ways and stuff like that. It all seems a bit, I don't know, weird and odd. So the last thing for me, connected to what the lady said at work, I don't really get work etiquette and stuff like that. I treat people the way they kind of treat me. I talk to people the way I want to talk to them, I guess. I just don't worry if we had a work meeting today where we met the new CEO, and I was just like, I don't know how to speak to a CEO. You're completely new to me. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to do it. So I actually raised it in a roundabout way. I said, what I'm trying to get to grips with is the fact that I've worked for the same company for 7 years. I turned up when it was just the 5 people that owned it. I've spoken to them for the past 7 years, and now we are in this position where you are the new person who's the top dog. I don't know whether to ring you with things or to speak to the old person who's now blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know where the limits are in any of this anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that was an interesting conversation. And I just don't get people constantly say things like, I've been working till midnight. I'm so swamped. I've been up till 4 a.m. I got up early to get this done. And then they spend 3 hours just chatting to me about football and stuff. And I'm like, you've literally done nothing. You're sat here clucking in my ear while I'm just trying to get my job done in work hours. I'm trying to finish at 5 and go home done. And you're there going cluck, 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 cluck. Oh, now I'm going to stay awake till midnight, or I'm going to tell everyone I am. Are they lying? I'm always like, are you lying? Are you pretending you're staying awake that late so that you sound like you're Mr. or Mrs. hardworking, and actually you're not doing anything, and you've probably not done anything all day, and there's not that much for you to do, and that's why you're clucking at me all afternoon when I've actually got work to do and I'm busy, So that doesn't make any sense ever, because I just feel like if they stopped clucking, they'd get the work done and they wouldn't have to stay up late. And if they don't have work to do, find work to do, or are they just being lazy? I don't know. It's probably just lazy. There's lots of game playing and stuff like that going on, and everyone insists on not doing the work. So a lot of my job involves having conversations about things or making agreements, but no one ever does that in the formal stuff where you sit and you just agree it and then it's done. They faff around through the formal stuff, sorry, and then you go for lunch and they want to talk stuff, and you're like, I'm trying to eat a sandwich here. You want to talk about important things? It's like, why is that so backwards? It's confusing and messy, and it's like they keep saying you got to do social stuff to be able to properly network and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm quite comfortable networking the way I do it, which is not very much, and making genuine connections, because that's the thing that I think confuses my boss. He doesn't really get the fact that I'm different, because he'll be like, you got on really well with that person. Like, this guy came up, said, I think I had a question with a guy. I had found an opportunity. I spoke to somebody. We hit it off. We used to have a daily phone call. We'd go through some things. I'd tell him where I was on the deals because I was selling his company's products. He'd tell me a few people, oh, go talk to so and so. So and so wants this, so and so wants that. And I'd be able to use that information to go, oh, they told me to speak to you. Let's talk. So I made lots of sales from it because it was like a really good relationship we'd built up. That person left. They then wanted me to try and replicate it with new people. But it was like, well, I can't just connect with every single person in the world. I'm not like Gandhi or something. Do you know what I mean? I can't. I'm not Martin Luther King. I've not got a dream that I can just pull people in with. We just happen to make friends, and I can't make that work every time. If I had that ability, if I had the ability to make friends with everyone whenever I wanted, then I mean, I'd just go become prime minister, I guess. I mean, wouldn't that be the thing you'd do if you're actually? I don't know. So it's weird, it's confusing, and I have to try really hard to maintain relationships with people that couldn't give a flying toss whether I existed. And it's all very weird, and I don't get it. And I feel like I'm okay at it, but I try and explain that that's not the same as blindly ringing cold people and going, hello, let's work together, and trying to make a cold entrance to people. It just doesn't work. So I don't get it. And I don't get why so many companies insist on trying to make that the way you do things and how you do things, because it's not, as far as I understand it. Maybe it is, and I'm just haphazardly making it work another way. But it's all very bizarre, and I never know how. Again, I remember. I'll paraphrase this for words, but I remember thinking it was a perfectly legitimate thing to say, and it wasn't. But they find it hilarious, and I was very lucky, I guess. But when I got offered my job, I said something along the lines of, I've always been told if you can't spot the biggest, let's say, idiot in the room, but I used a swear word when I said it to them, beginning with W. If you can't spot the biggest W in the room, it's probably you. And I was like, and I jokingly said to them, I've been here for 3 weeks and I can't spot the biggest W. So I feel like this is a good place to be. And my boss said no one's ever spoken to him like that in his entire career, and he thought it was hilarious because it was such the wrong thing to say, but he really liked it because it was actually a really nice thing to say, because what I was saying was, if I'm the biggest W here, then this is fantastic because I like me and you lot are great. And he used to quote that all the time because he thought it was such a hilarious thing to bring up in your bloody, yes, I will work for your company meeting. He just thought I was odd. And I realise now that if I'd said that in the meeting with the CEO person, he'd have been like, what the hell? And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like, should I have said it to him? Because it worked in the other one, but I don't know anymore. So I'm always second guessing, and it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, 3 things there: roads, clothes, work etiquette, work stuff. I just don't connect with it. And if I had a perfect scenario, I wouldn't have to drive anywhere, because I don't know. I want a self-driving car. That'd be the perfect scenario. Just get in a self-driving car and be taken. I want clothes that are just the same all the time and they stay clean and or get cleaned, and I don't have to worry about it. And I really wish I didn't have to worry about other people with work, and I could just work for myself, really. But that's not. I do like where I work. I like the people I work with. I'm happy where I work. That is a good thing. But I do find it a minefield. Being at work is a minefield, and it's a lot to figure out. And you can't say what you really think a lot of the time. Not that I necessarily think those things all the time. There's just now and again over the years I've thought, I really want to say this, but I know it's going to cause World War III. And I have caused World War III plenty of times. I once just messaged my boss saying something really abrupt about, this needs sorting out. Can you fix it? And he was like, you can't just WhatsApp me that. And I'm like, well, I needed to, because it was stressing me out and I needed to talk about it. And again, I'm lucky that they understand me. I think they don't know anything official, but they kind of guess that I'm a bit different because they met me. But yeah, it's a minefield. And this is why I always feel a bit funny, because I've been at this company 7 years this week, and it's the only place I've ever worked where I haven't felt. I still feel like an alien, but I haven't felt like an alien that's completely, gonna fail there. Every other job I've had, I've basically bombed out of because I just didn't fit in. So yeah, it's a weird one, and it frustrates me looking, thinking not that I feel trapped, but if I ever wanted to leave, I'd be falling into that bloody situation again where it'd be like I'm an alien, I can't figure it out, blah blah blah. I wouldn't get away with saying random things like that, or having days where I'm absolutely they thought I was falling. They think I fall asleep in meetings sometimes, but I don't. I'm just so overloaded that my eyes close and I don't realize they're closed, and I'm listening to what they're saying, but I'm like this. And again, they think that's hilarious. They just go with it. Oh, there's a light that was vibrating too much, and it was making me just go. Now we do meetings in not the dark, but with the lights off, and that's a bit better. And it still happens now and again if it's just too hot or something. If I'm just too over whatever, I just sit there like this, and the person doing the talk's like, "What's happened to him?" So yeah, I am lucky, but I just feel like I don't know. I really don't. I really couldn't. I feel like I'm at their mercy a little bit, and that worries me. It's not most people don't have that problem with work. They can go, right, I don't like this, I'm off. See you later. I'm going to get a pay rise, double pay. I'm like, I don't really know what to do with this. I just got to keep bumbling along as I am. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your opinions on these things. Do you find roads hard? Do you find clothes difficult? Do you find etiquette at work insane? I will, if you like this, I'll do more. I may just do more because it's a slow week in future as well, even if you don't. But I'd like your feedback. Let me know your general, how you're going, what you're up to, what's going on, how's your week going. It's nearly the weekend. My next vlog will be Tuesday, but it's Ollie's birthday over the weekend, so I'll try and film some of that, try and do a bit more of that. He frightened us earlier because he told us he was looking forward to his birthday party, and I was like, you're not having a birthday party. We specifically talked to you about what you wanted to do, and you didn't want to do any of that, and no one's coming. And he was talking to me like he genuinely expected to be having one, and he was just like, I just want to do what everyone does on their birthday. And I was like, yes, but you're specifically not doing that. You understand that, right? Please don't panic. He understands that. It's okay. But oh man, he broke my heart for a second. I thought he was expecting like 20 kids to come out of the woodwork, and oh, it would have been horrific if he had. Honestly, I was dying inside trying to get information from him, but it was a misunderstanding, so phew. So yeah, that is everything. Hope you're well, and that's your lot, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.